Maybe we can discuss it over dinner, if you're available.
Totally. I think so.
Every time Batman stole the girlfriends or wives of other superheroes. The Dark Knight is known for his long history of fighting crime in the dark and murky city of Gotham. However, he is, after all, still playboy billionaire Bruce Wayne by day.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's just that I was hoping to get away from the subject of the Man of Steel.
So it comes as no shock to us that he has had various romantic relationships with women. In fact, he has also stolen the wives and girlfriends of other superheroes, such as Superman, on various occasions. I mean, it must be tough to resist the handsome and brooding Bruce Wayne, resulting in moments of tumultuous passion. Here is a complete rundown of all the women who have fallen for Wayne's charm, ignoring their superhero partners in the process. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a whole lot. So thank you, and let's begin.
I read all about your adventure on Air Force One. You're quite the newsmaker.
No more than you.
Batman's Tryst with Lois Lane. Everyone who knows Superman knows about his underlying and loyal love for the one and only Lois Lane. We have seen their romance, we have seen Superman heartbroken over her, and we have even seen how inevitably, like magnets, they are drawn to each other. Superman is evidently extremely protective of Lois, and would go to any lengths for her to ensure her safety and well-being. We also know that Batman and Superman are terrific friends, so it would only be natural for Bruce Wayne to respect their relationship and stay away from Lois. Or so we thought.
Well, hardly. This is Clark Kent.
Mr. Wayne?
In actuality, Bruce Wayne could be called Mr. Steal Your Girl. This is because Bruce even got married to Lois Lane once in the past. In fact, on most occasions, it is almost too simple for Bruce to woo her at times. Bruce simply enters the scene and charms Lois with his seductive ways. What does Superman do during times like these? Well, Clark Kent, who has feelings for the reporter, is always presently idle, watching from the sidelines. These kinds of narratives are definitely engaging to read or watch. However, they go on to show just how much of a player Bruce Wayne really is. How would you feel if your friend stole your girl? One of the most uneasy examples of Wayne stealing Lois Lane from right under Superman's nose is in Superman the Animated Series. Bruce and Lois develop a passionate romance during his vacation to Metropolis. Lois is immediately attracted to Bruce as he steps off his private plane, and the two begin talking right away. Bruce doesn't waste a single moment and asks Lois out for dinner that very day, which Lois readily agrees to. Bruce then wines and dines Lois, and man oh man can the Dark Knight wine and dine someone. The two enjoy a wonderful evening as they eat dinner, and then they slow dance together. The attraction between the two of them is absolutely undeniable, and Clark Kent sees that too. He is not very happy, but he seems to be somewhat assured that Wayne is taking his tryst with Lois seriously. Bruce even teases poor Clark Kent, saying that Kent has already had his chance with her, and now it is his turn. He takes her to the most expensive places and says all the right things to her just to woo her. However, she does end up finding out that Bruce Wayne was in fact Batman after all, another relationship with a superhero for her. This leads to Lois cutting the relationship short because she is simply not a fan of Batman or Gotham. The story ends with Bruce and Clark reconciling, and Bruce even asking Kent to take care of her properly. Given the briefness of the couple's relationship, the Man of Steel finds himself in a difficult situation that albeit turns out quite nicely for him. However, as infatuated as they may seem, they are sure to have plenty of fun together to remember each other by. Thus, the length of the relationship ultimately doesn't really matter that much. Another weird Batman-Lois affair takes place in the issue titled Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane number 89 of the comic book series. In this issue, events take an unexpected turn, leading to Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane getting married, leaving Superman with nothing to do but watch from the sidelines. In this Silver Age comic, Bruce and Lois also have a child and lead a wonderfully happy life. However, this odd romance was solely limited to the issue, which was written by Leo Dorfman and illustrated by one of the greatest Batman illustrators of all time, Curt Swan. The story is all kinds of bizarre, with Batman having a Lois Lane shrine in the Wayne Manor where he would keep all of his things that he wanted to gift Lois but could not account of Lois being his best friend's girlfriend. As I said, all kinds of weird. It doesn't stop there, however. We learn that Bruce Wayne has been secretly pinning for Lois all these years in a classic he wants what he can't have scenario, but little did he know, thanks to writer Leo Dorfman, his luck was about to change. An opportunity opens up for Wayne to become Lois's knight in shining armor when she finds herself in a sticky situation at a gala. Bruce Wayne saves Lois Lane's life at the gala, but he soon finds that she is solely interested in Superman. Fortunately for Bruce, Lois is currently deeply unhappy about Superman and Wonder Woman, which gives Bruce an opportunity to win her over as billionaire philanthropist Bruce Wayne. Superman and Wonder Woman have recently been working together quite a bit, which further adds fuel to the fire. Taking advantage of Lois's jealousy and unhappiness with Superman, Bruce thus treats Lois to a fine meal, proving that he is seriously capable of treating a woman well when she wants it. And at the end of their little courting session, he proposes to her. She accepts his marriage proposal. He does not, however, reveal his identity as Batman to her before the wedding because he feels that if he did, that would maybe give her cold feet. Clearly, being in a relationship with a superhero wasn't easy, and Lois knew that all too well. He does have the courtesy of telling Superman that he was marrying his girl, though, which obviously sends the Man of Steel into some kind of emotional breakdown, and he goes back to his Fortress of Solitude, to his personal Lois Lane shrine. Wait, what's with all these Lois Lane shrines? But I digress. He goes to the shrine and punches the figure of Lois. Batman and Lois get married in a grand ceremony, easily one of the most notable comic book weddings. Following the marriage, Lois learns who the Dark Knight is, and being the type of person she is delighted that her fiancé deceived her for months. This news doesn't impact the relationship in any way. In fact, she seems happier for it. Maybe old habits do die hard. Then comes a dark comic passage where Robin is now moping about how the marriage has destroyed the dynamic duo. And indeed, this was a major betrayal by Batman, and I wouldn't even blame Superman for hating him and never working with him again. To make matters worse, storyboard leaks in 2021 provided a glimpse into the director Zack Snyder, what he had in mind for his Justice League trilogy, and it included another child for Batman and Lois Lane, and evidently another punch in the gut for poor old Superman. Batman reportedly finds out that Lois was expecting his child in Justice League 2, despite her protests that it wasn't his. In Justice League 3, the Flash would ultimately use time travel to tell Bruce the truth. There was no doubt that the plot would be complex. Finally, Batman loses his life to rescue the day in the epic confrontation with Darkseid. Superman then finds out that Lois is carrying Bruce Wayne's child, but they go on to embrace anyway. And it appears that Clark would be happy to raise the child as his own in Bruce's absence, but would take another 20 years for the big revelation. This ultimately happened when Lois and Commissioner Gordon were present for the election of a monument honoring Batman. And finally, Lois agrees to take her kid to the Batcave after Gordon prompts her to do so, raising the responsibility that he would assume the role of his real father. Quite the storyline, huh?
News. You're off this one.
What?
I don't want you on this case.
At all?
Betraying Dick Grayson for Barbara Gordon was one of his coldest moments. Another day, another betrayal. Nothing stops the Dark Knight, it seems, not even family. Every superhero fan knows about the father-son bond shared by Dick Grayson and Batman, but in one particular story arc, it all goes for a toss. Batman gives into his carnal impulses without a single thought about how Dick would react to him getting intimate with his girl. The Barbara Gordon and Bruce Wayne relationship felt strange right off the bat, if you know what I mean, even after the pair received a passing mention in Batman Beyond. If you know Barbara Gordon, you already know that she is frequently represented as the fiancée of his adopted son, Dick Grayson, and is the daughter of Batman's close friend, James Gordon. In many of these depictions, Batman plays a significant role in her development from youth into early adulthood, being a father figure to her almost. Hence, as a fan, being uncomfortable with their sexual interactions would be an understatement, but Babs and Bruce are two capable consenting adults, so they are free to act however they wish. Although, you are welcome to criticize it, because after all, it is quite weird. In Batman Beyond 2.0 comic, which is set after the events of the animated series, the biggest surprise regarding their intimacy emerges. Finally, the reason for Dick Grayson's absence from the program is revealed here. Bruce had gotten Barbara pregnant. Once more, disagreements regarding the coupling among fans emerged over a rooftop scene in the animated movie rendition of The Killing Joke. It goes without saying that most people are unwilling to ship this combo. It also makes complete sense that Dick Grayson was missing in action because his mentor had just knocked up his girl while they were involved romantically, causing a major rift between Batman and Robin. The only saving grace might be the fact that in the comic, Batman is not Bruce Wayne, but rather the mantle was held by the future Batman, Terry McGinnis. Although this pregnancy does not last long, as we see Barbara get heavily injured during a fight, leading to a miscarriage, Batman plus Batgirl equals Batbaby? Not in this story arc at least. Babs and Bruce's romance is also shown in the adult animated film Batman: The Killing Joke. For the first 20 minutes of the movie adaptation, Barbara Gordon plays the role of the main character, battling crime and conflicting emotions about her relationship with Batman and if it's time to stop fighting crime. She then kisses Batman, and it's hinted that they had a makeout session after a heated fight in which she lashes out at Batman for pulling her from a case. Batman also rejects her, and it goes from a crush to her becoming a spurned lover. Fans weren't too happy with this piece of writing either, and Brian Azzarello took the heat for it when the movie premiered in 2016. All in all, it is easy to see how not only is this romance weird, but also morally gray as far as Batman is concerned. He had no care for his friend and comrade Dick Grayson for many years, which ultimately led to a major falling out between the two. While the Bat Charm works on everyone, there are some occasions on which the Bat Charm just shouldn't be used. But what do you think? The infamous love triangle. Black Canary, Batman, and Green Arrow. Moving on to an infamous love triangle, one involving Black Canary, Batman, and Green Arrow. Now, Black Canary is hands down one of the sexiest superheroines. Not just in DC, but amongst all the badass superheroines that have ever graced the pages of comic books or appeared in movies. Not only is she known for her killer good looks, but she is also an excellent fighter. Apart from this, she is known for her romance with the Emerald Archer himself, Green Arrow. Denny O'Neil, who had killed Black Canary's spouse and brought her to Earth-1 and decided to flesh out Green Arrow's character and give him more of a persona because Green Arrow was a bit of a clean canvas in those days, was undoubtedly the driving force behind the romance. O'Neil believed that Canary and Arrow were ideal candidates to explore the world as they explored their love for one another because they were both at odds with it. From Justice League of America number 78 to 81, the flirtation turned into something more, until we finally saw that they were a couple in the pages of Green Lantern, Green Arrow. It is thus tough to see how Batman would be able to steal Black Canary away from Green Arrow, but nothing is impossible when it comes to the Dark Knight. This bizarre entanglement takes place 2 times. The first instance is in Justice League of America issue number 84, where Batman bumps into Black Canary and he makes her cry by being a little too harsh to her. In the comic book series, the romance between Batman and Black Canary is quickly written off as a one-time mistake, and Canary even refers to him as a brother in later issues. Talk about being bro-zoned. The second instance of a flaming hot moment of passion between Batman and Black Canary takes place in All-Star Batman and Robin, and there is nothing PG about this encounter. The infamous act of passion takes place when Batman is fighting a group of criminals. He bashes the goons up, and in the process, the dock ends up in flames. It is a sight to behold as Batman pummels the bad guys to the ground, suddenly surrounded by flames and rain pouring down relentlessly. Black Canary shows up at the scene, and instead of helping Batman out, she just sits back and watches him fight. Now, ladies do love strong men, but Black Canary takes this a step further as she actively gets turned on watching Wayne fight and even tells him that he looks hot while in action. The steamy moment is just too much for the two of them to resist as they start making out as soon as Batman gets done fighting the bad guys. They do the deed in the alley with their costumes and masks on. If I may add, because Batman believes, that adds to the pleasurable experience. Clearly the two of them had an extremely good time that night because they even attempted to take a shot at a romantic relationship. But Black Canary was still with Green Arrow at the time, and this led to a major conflict within the Justice League. I can't even imagine what poor old Green Arrow must have been feeling all the while. After all, it is tough when your girl is attracted to playboy, billionaire, and crime-fighting superhero Batman.
Just good friends. There's something more between you and Diana.
Well, maybe there was.
Batman and Zatanna's adorable romance. Zatanna, Zatara, and Bruce Wayne grew up together and thus had a deep friendship. He cares for her more than he cares for most people and has always wanted to protect her. But for us to say that this relationship was purely platonic would be a bold-faced lie. It is clear that there has often been an air of romance around the two, with Zatanna even having feelings for Bruce at one point in time. However, they did not act on it because Bruce Wayne wanted to protect her and keep her sheltered from all that is bad, including bad guys that come calling once you're involved with Batman. Bruce also liked her, but because of how deep their bond was, he knew that he had to keep her away to make sure that she would not come in harm's way because of him. While this was obviously not ideal because it is definitely tough to break off with a person that you are still very much emotionally attached to, Zatanna realized that Bruce only wanted to protect her. Realizing that they would never be together, Zatanna decided to try and move on. In the process, she started dating Constantine, but even during this time, she was always there when Bruce Wayne was in a fix and needed a helping hand. The two have, on various occasions, been affectionate and lovey-dovey towards each other, so it may even be possible that they have kissed, but there is no way of knowing because details surrounding any possible romance between Zatanna and Bruce are quite scarce. However, despite having a lengthy and tangled personal history together, Batman and Zatanna's relationship now has a more romantic foundation than what has previously been shown in comic books, as per one of the more recent issues of Batman, Urban Legends. Batman and Zatanna's relationship was rebranded in the January 11th issue of Batman Urban Legends number 11 as having a romantic history rather than just being a protracted flirtation. It also introduces the twist that the two have been meeting in secret for many years to solve a mystical problem they created during a perfectly romantic day together in their youth. So, what this issue essentially confirms is that while they remained separate during their adult years, teenage Batman and Zatanna definitely had some fun together. When Batman couldn't resist Becca. For those of you who don't know, Becca is a New Genesis warrior who was subsequently enlisted in the Sinestro Corps. She is Batman's main romantic love interest in Justice League Gods and Monsters, an American animated superhero film and the 23rd film of the DC Universe animated original movies, which was released in the year 2015. In the movie, we see both the heroes strike up a romance, but it is important to note here that when Becca was a younger Genesian, she unconsciously learned how to transmit her feelings of love to everyone around her. Thus, she was practically the god of love as the new Genesis god, making her somewhat like Cupid. So it is highly likely that her powers drew Batman in, leading to quite a few steamy makeout sessions in the movie. Although to be fair to Becca, her power works in a certain manner. Whomever she seduces also has the same effect on her, so the attraction was, needless to say, mutual. However, the reason this romance has landed up on this particular list is because Justice League Gods and Monsters is not the only place where we see Becca and Batman strike up a romance. In fact, their love story actually blossomed in the comics while she was still married to her then husband, Orion. To put it simply, Becca had an extramarital affair with Batman. She encountered Batman after saving him on the planet Tryst from Darkseid soldiers, and the two of them apparently instantly clicked. Now it is important to know that Darkseid, a powerful warrior from New Genesis who was nurtured by the kind Highfather, is the father of Orion. Orion is in fact one of the top combatants among the new gods and a skilled battle deity. Batman pretty much decided to risk his life to woo the wife of the new god of war. If that doesn't scream Bruce Wayne, I don't know what does, because only the Dark Knight would do something like that. In the comics, it is shown that Becca and Batman were absolutely unable to resist each other and gave in to their carnal impulses, doing the deed quite a few times while Becca was still married to Orion. However, this relationship did not last long, as they would go on to end their passionate trysts and Becca would go back to Orion. It is unknown if Orion was happy with the situation or if he even knew what was going on. If the god of war was angry, then he would definitely have made it known, right? This romance is also quite peculiar because while it's not unusual for someone to use magic or other deception to win Batman's love, it's unusual for them to also genuinely reciprocate those feelings. This was one of Batman's oddest partnerships because of the very nature of Becca's abilities and how her power of seduction or love, if that's what you want to call it, worked.
Sorry.
Don't be.
Batman and Wonder Woman had a few curious encounters. Wonder Woman is hands down the most iconic superheroine from DC, there is no doubt about it. And if you really think about it, Batman and Wonder Woman would definitely be a kick-ass power couple. There are plenty of admirers of the two well-known superheroes hoping for a romantic union between them. The Amazon Princess and the Dark Knight have clearly hinted at the prospect of developing a romantic relationship in the past, but it has never truly materialized in the main DC universe. Bruce Wayne, the wealthy orphan from Gotham City's crime-ridden urban wasteland, and Diana, the demigod princess from the mysterious island of Themyscira, come from very different worlds. Although they come from quite diverse backgrounds, they frequently find common grounds in the Justice League and have had love encounters in comic books, cartoons, and movies. Over the years, Wonder Woman has shared moments with both Superman and Batman, but the idea of Diana and Bruce getting together has frequently stuck out more in the minds of the fans. It's come close to happening numerous times. A much earlier instance of the chemistry between Bruce and Diana can be found in Brave and the Bold number 78. In this storyline, Batgirl and Wonder Woman are involved in a complicated scheme to deceive Copperhead, a villain, by trying to make him believe that they are both in love with Batman. Beyond that, the plot is strange and difficult to explain, but it ends with Wonder Woman and Batman actually kissing. Diana begins to feel genuine affection for Batman at that point, but they dissipate by the comic's conclusion. A classic case of situationship. Another story explores the relationship between Bruce and the Amazonian warrior. Batman and Wonder Woman initially had trouble getting along, according to Matt Wagner's run-on Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman Trinity, which offers an alternative account of the three heroes' introduction to one another. They develop a mutual regard and understanding. The moment Batman spots Diana taking a bath in Themyscira, he becomes so captivated that he quickly kisses her. Bruce gets punched by Diana in vengeance, although it is made clear that the incident affected Bruce. Further, Batman and Catwoman were recently engaged, but even that did not stop Batman from admitting his feelings for Wonder Woman. As a part of the storyline, Batman and Wonder Woman were sent to an alternate dimension in the days before the big wedding to pay off an ancient debt. They were supposed to take the place of a warrior who had vowed to fight the hordes of Guyana forever. This warrior is granted a day of freedom by Bruce and Diana while they battle the hordes on his behalf. Even though people don't age in this universe, a day there is equivalent to years and hours. At this point, Bruce and Deanna realize they might be attracted to one another, but refrain from kissing due to their commitments to separate people. Bruce and Selena, and Deanne to Steve Trevor. So, well, he could have stolen Wonder Woman from Steve, but he chose not to. Although, now the two of them have to live with knowing that they don't truly love their partners and would rather be with each other. Pretty tough situation if you ask me. Although before it eventually gained popularity in the comic books and DC Extended Universe, the origins of Bruce Wayne and Deanna's Prince's flirty interaction were actually made popular by the DC Animated Universe. Over the course of the DCAU series Justice League and its follow-up Justice League Unlimited, Batman and Wonder Woman hinted at the possibility of a romantic romance, even going so far as to kiss during their animated adventure together. In the JLU episode, This Little Piggy, when Diana presses the topic, Batman said that dating within a team usually resulted in complications and described himself as an affluent kid with plenty of troubles, ruling out the chance of a romance. While the Wonder Woman-Batman relationship wouldn't appear to advance in the DCAU, Batman would consistently become uneasy whenever his comrades broached the subject. Later on, during Joe Kelly's time as JLA's director, the two superheroes' potential romance was hinted at once again, when they shared a kiss launching into war in the Obsidian Age, showing how much they admired one another. However, Deanna's Amazonian culture held a high regard for the development of the body and mind to their fullest potential. Bruce's efforts to push himself to the pinnacle of human physical prowess and sharp mind are also admirable. Wonder Woman is aware that Batman is a mortal man in the company of actual demigods. Wonder Woman also has some qualities that Bruce really needs in his life, since she serves as a light of hope, love, and compassion for the whole DC universe. This makes it clear why Bruce would fall in love with Deanna, in addition to her ferocious warrior spirit and uncompromising commitment to her principles. Even though Batman finds it difficult to confess it to others or even to himself, this is a simple observation for the fans. In the end, any serious dreams of a romance between Bruce and Deanna ever materializing are doomed by Batman's unwillingness to expose himself to the emotional risk that comes with dating a deviant from his compulsive quest to fight crime throughout Gotham City. Bruce and Deanna both continue to be dedicated to their typical romantic interests, even though they clearly feel some type of way about each other. Bruce Wayne's charm works on everyone, whether it be human or Amazonian women.
Like you shouldn't have bad days.
Sleeping with the enemy's lover didn't deter Batman. Who is the enemy's lover in question here? It is none other than Harley Quinn, the Clown Princess of Crime. The Clown Princess of Crime and the Caped Crusader have a fascinating history that spans several animated shows, comic novels, and now live-action movies. Batman and Harley Quinn's relationship developed over time, going from being hostile to even romantic. Although their personalities and habits could not be more dissimilar, they both hold a dislike for the Joker, who is both Quinn's ex-boyfriend and the arch-enemy of the Dark Knight. Given the Joker's propensity for murder, the two have occasionally had to cooperate to halt his evil schemes, and in doing so, they have learned unexpected things about one another. Harley Quinn is a villain who isn't always evil, and Batman is a hero who isn't always heroic, making them an unexpected yet curiously matched pair. Harley has shown some degree of affection to Batman ever since she first appeared in Batman the Animated Series, despite the relationship seeming odd at first. Batman is very empathetic to Harley's position in the episode Harley's Holiday. Despite the fact that Harley was freed from Arkham Asylum, a string of miscommunications and Harley's response to them put her right back where she started. Harley gave him a kiss of gratitude for his assistance. Quinn had kissed Batman several times without hesitation, as seen in Batman the Animated Series. ways. Although Batman does attempt to reform her, it's not as if you'd expect this romance to serve any particular purpose. This is more of a feel-good love story with tender spots for each person involved. Recently, Batman, White Knight, and Batman, Curse of the White Knight also examined a relationship between the two. As the plots develop, it becomes clear that Batman and Harley are in love when he confides in her and reveals his identity. Another example of their mutual attraction was when Bruce Wayne is auctioned off as a date for a charity dinner in 2015, Harley Quinn's Valentine's Day Special #1, with the proceeds going to support animal shelters in New York City. Harley, who adores animals, learns about the auction and decides to enter herself by robbing wealthy Wall Street figures of their money. Wayne is taken hostage by the Carp before Harley can win the auction, which turns out to be a complete failure. After committing to saving him, Harley receives her desired romantic date. She is dismayed when Wayne is forced to retire early in order to recover from the day's events. That is until Batman shows up and gives her a kiss as a thank you for saving Wayne's life. It goes without saying that by getting involved with Harley, even in the slightest bit, he risks being on the receiving end of the Joker's wrath, who is notorious for being insanely possessive when it comes to Harley. But, well, in recent years, Harley has stepped out of the Joker's shadow and become a woman of her own. And well, the enemy of an enemy is, after all, a friend in some cases. Fooling around with a friend isn't all that bad. It is important to note, though, that the relationship is based on mutual respect, and while it doesn't seem like Harley Quinn and Bruce Wayne will ever be together, it would be foolish not to expect a couple of sneaky glances and quick kisses in future appearances. Batman clearly has a way with women, regardless of whether they have a boyfriend or a husband. The infamous Wayne charm never fails to work its magic on women. However, it is clear that some of these escapades have negatively impacted his teammates and friends, such as his falling out with Dick Grayson and even Superman. So what do you think? Should Batman stop his womanizing ways, or does it make for a raunchy and exciting storyline in most of them? Tell us what you think in the comment section below. And if you liked our content, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. And in the meantime, have a good one and be safe. Thank you, everyone.
A little fun.
Enjoying yourself so far?
More than I expected.